I am Michael Montgomery. I'm a sergeant with the Nether Providence Township Police Department. Hello to everyone. I wish I was in front of everyone live in the class like I've done a couple times, but unfortunately this is how it's going to go. So let's get started. Hopefully I give you some quick information about being a police officer in career in law enforcement. So as I stated, I'm a sergeant, Nether Providence Police. I've been a police officer now for going on 28 years. I have been with Nether Providence for 21. I worked in other departments before that. When I graduated the police academy in 1993, the end of 1993, I worked in Upland Borough, Chester Township, and Marcus Hook. And I was hired here in 1999. So I have worked all kinds of things: patrol, drug unit in my career, bicycle patrol. I was canine officer. I had 2 different dogs, youth aid panel, field training officer. So there's a lot of things you can get involved in when you're a police officer. So as a police officer, and I'm reading off some notes here, I hope you don't mind. I just want to make sure I get everything I can for you to help guide you here. As a police officer, you do wear many hats in this career. And what I mean by that is you're looked upon as a lot of different things. You're looked upon as a problem solver, a mentor, sometimes a defender, sometimes a medical aid to someone, a father, or if you're a female officer, kind of like a mother to a child, even a psychiatrist, which you're not, but there's a whole bunch of things that people lean on police officers to be or to do for them. Unfortunately, you're also looked by certain people who don't like to follow the law as an oppressor or a bad guy or a bad girl. But let's start with this. To be a good police officer, in my opinion, you got to have really good communication skills, or at least you have to be approachable. You have to make sure that you can get down to their level and speak with them. Have some sympathy, have compassion. Make sure that you can listen very well to people, because you're going to be hearing a lot of problems from people as a police officer. You are there to help them. Sometimes they think you're there to solve the problem. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But listening and good communication, because you don't get a second chance to make a first impression with someone. So listening to somebody, really listening to their issues, and good communication with that person goes a very long way. So I believe that that's a huge part of being a police officer. You should be somewhat outgoing as well. On a normal day, when there's nothing going on, you're not at a call, you should be approachable. Somebody should be able to walk up to you and just talk to you without any fear or any weird feelings. You're part of the community. You're a resident, or maybe you're not, but you're human just like them. You're just wearing a uniform, and you have a difficult job as a police officer, but you are part of that community. Not to mention you're representing that town, that department. So you should be approachable. Your mouth and your mind are the most important things, in my opinion. Not all the stuff that's on your gun belt. Your mouth and your mind are very, very important. Again, the good communication skills. There's your mouth, your mind. You gotta learn how to think fast on your feet. You have to always be changing up things. So I think that's a huge part of being a police officer: communication, listening. There are many positive aspects about this job. Depending on where you work, what town, there's plenty of room for advancement in certain departments. Detective division, some departments have canine division, drug unit, some have a traffic unit. So motorcycle unit. So there's many rooms for many areas you can move for advancement, depending on what department you're in. And I'm really believe that a positive aspect about this job, just like firemen or nursing, is the bonds you have with the other officers. They're like your second family. You're with them day in and day out. They watch your backs, you watch theirs. So I believe that's a very positive aspect. You get a second family almost, and that usually goes even past retirement. It's like the military too. You have a bond. So I believe that's a positive aspect. You'll run into situations normal everyday people don't see, which can be bad, which I'll talk about in a minute. But the good things are, or can be, when you save a life, whether it be a heart attack, a fire, a drug overdose. I've had the opportunity to help deliver a child, pregnant woman, which was amazing. So, saving somebody from a car crash, preventing a drunk driver from killing someone, arresting them. These are good things. These are positive aspects about the job. You're making a difference in your community, which makes you feel like you're on top of the world at some point. But some negative things is you'll see some things in your job that normal people who aren't police officers or firemen or what have you, some people can't handle that, and that's okay. So you got to decide if that's what you want to do. Every job has its good. Every job has its bad. So some of they're not negative aspects of the career, but they're, again, good and bad. I would say they're not that great. Some of the negative, you'll work on weekends. Not every weekend, but you'll work on weekends. You'll work on holidays, birthday parties. You'll miss birthday parties. You'll miss barbecues at your non-cop friend's house. You'll work during snowstorms, rain, hot days, cold days. We are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We don't get off for snow days. We don't get off for anything like that. We have to be here. So keep that in mind. If you're a police officer and your friend doesn't have to go in because it's 3 feet of snow outside, okay, you still have to be at work. Sometimes you'll work night shifts as well and day shifts. Sometimes we work 12-hour shifts, but sometimes you're here longer. You get held over for a late arrest or a late bad accident or what have you. You might work 16 hours straight. You see the bad of humanity, the bad side of humanity. Besides the good side, besides things you see, you will see the bad side of humanity. You will see overdoses, you will see child abuse, you will see domestic violence, car crashes, every aspect of death. And I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just letting you know that sometimes this job isn't for everyone. But if you really want to do this job and help people and have that satisfaction, you can do it. You can do the job. It's what you make of it. Salary varies from state to state. You can make a good living as a police officer now. When I first started, it was very low. Now we've gotten a lot higher. The average salary for a police officer in the state of Pennsylvania is $68,000 to start, but you can make well over that but you're going to work a lot. You're going to work a lot. Again, this is not a normal 8-hour job, so keep that in mind. Plus, you get other perks such as good health benefits usually, but again, you'll be working a lot of hours, so keep that in mind. For me, middle school, the end of middle school and high school really helped mold me of what direction I went in life. I had some good contacts and good rapport with obviously my friends, but with teachers that taught me, some coaches. I thought that was important. They gave me the ability and the confidence to learn how to communicate effectively with people, which helped me on this job. Nothing can substitute for on-the-job training, which you'll get a lot of, but talking to my peers and talking to my teachers really helped me along the way. And they taught me don't be afraid to be who you are. Get out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to talk. Don't be afraid to go face-to-face with someone and talk with people. Not having the constant cell phones that you guys have or the constant computers. We talked face-to-face, and that goes a long way because as a police officer, that's what you're going to be doing. You are going to be talking a lot to people. So keep that in mind. Human interaction, in my opinion, like I said, communication is the key to being a good police officer or in law enforcement. You'll learn everything else you need to learn, but you have to have good communication skills, and human interaction will give you that. That goes a long way. If you're considering a career in police work, be prepared to face a whole gamut, a whole different emotions and events. So I think you should take two things into account. The first thing is police work is not like Cops, not like the show Cops. Cops is filmed over a long period of time, and then they take the greatest parts out and make an hour-long show. A lot of police work is boring, monotonous, doing the same things over and over again. The same patrol, the same issues. You'll go to the same house for the same calls over and over again. A lot of it's paperwork. A lot of it's community relations. A lot of it's patrol, solving people's problems. Like I said, yes, you stop cars for traffic violations. You make arrests when you have to. But you're not running from call to call to call to call like some cities maybe do, but it's not like Cops. But that 15 to 20% of the time is the heart-pounding stuff you do see on Cops, where you're going from call to call. Only 15 to 20%, and that might even be high, where you go to those hot calls. So keep that in mind. And the second thing I would say is, one day you're loved, the next day you're hated. We're police officers, okay? We represent the law, so we're not always a person's favorite. But, again, you have to have thick skin. And this is the job you choose. And you don't let it bother you. And you know you're doing the right thing for your community. So, but you got to balance your emotions. And that comes with practice as well. So, it takes time, it takes assistance, but you can do it if you want this job. My average day. My average day on the job is quite simple. There is no average day. Now, I know I just said you're going to be, a lot of it's boring, you're doing the same things. But you never know what a day is going to bring. It could be quiet. You're doing your patrols for the first 2 hours, and then you're handling calls for the next 3 hours. So you don't know what it can bring. This is one of the reasons why I still enjoy this job, because it's never typical. Yes, it can be boring, but it's never typical. But if I did have a typical day, this is how it might go. Give you an idea. I come in for day work, let's say, 6:30 in the morning. We start at 7. I get dressed in the locker room. I'll speak with the sergeant from the night shift, find out what happened overnight, anything that needs to be done or hanging over, like prisoners in the holding cell from the night before waiting for a judge, things like that. Any burglaries or broken into cars or anything like that. Then I go and talk to my guys. I have 2 to 3 guys on my shift, and we talk, which is called roll call, and we'll talk and go over what our game plan is for the day. Then we'll check on the computer for all the calls that were handled, so we're up to date. Check emails, stuff like that. Now we're ready to go out. Check our patrol cars, make sure everything's running right, and we go to our sectors where we patrol. During that time, we do school checks, business checks. We might meet with residents or community leaders. We might have traffic court. We have court 2 times a week. Traffic court 1 day. Another day is criminal court, which can be long. So there's all that, and then there's handling your calls, your dispatched calls. Somebody calls 911, it goes to the Delaware County Dispatch Center. They, as they're talking to you, they are typing it on the computer, and it's going right to my in-car computer. And then they dispatch you to the call. So, and you'll handle regular calls, you'll handle medical calls, fire calls, major incidents, everything. People call the police for a lot of different things, so you have to handle all of that. We write a lot of reports. If you don't like writing reports, if you don't like doing things at school, sorry, you're going to be doing a lot of that here as a police officer. You'll be doing a lot of computer work. Every call we get, we have to do a report on. We do them at the station. We have stuff on our computers in our cars. So we do that. And then during that day, I might have to look at updates from our policies and procedures or the district attorney's office. So that's kind of a typical day, but again, we really don't have typical days here. So anyway, to be a police officer, especially here in Nether Providence, you're expected to be professional. You're expected to look good in uniform. You're expected to have a command presence. But you have to be courteous to the public. You must be respectful. Again, we are here to help. That's our main goal, and we are part of this community. So we represent the town. So you're here as a police officer to enforce laws, don't get me wrong, and protect people. But your main thing is to help. That's your primary goal. To some, you might be the only person that can solve their problem or help to make them feel secure. So you're the problem solver to them. So that's what you have to remember. You're here to help people. If you're considering being a police officer, education-wise, in today's day and age, all departments require you have at least a high school diploma. But I suggest, because now a lot of departments are going to either a 2 or 4 year degree in college, so an associate's or a bachelor's, and it doesn't have to be in criminal justice, by the way. You have to go to the police academy. You have to be certified in the police academy, which is 23 weeks long. It's certified by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania through the Municipal Police Officers Education Training Commission in Harrisburg, State Police. Active faculty there are like chiefs and past chiefs of police, supervisors of police, assistant district attorneys, some medical personnel, and many others that will be teaching you. And you'll be going through physical agility tests and things like that there as well. You must have a clean record, good standing in your community, a good credit rating. You must be able to perform the everyday functions of a police officer. So you'll get a physical from your doctor to make sure you can do that. You'll take for instance, for us, you'll take our application, fill it out. The detective will do a background check on you, talk to your teachers, your family, your friends, your jobs. If you pass that, you'll take the written test for our department. Then if you pass that, you'll take the physical agility test for our department, which is not easy. If you pass that, then you get to have interviews with either the police chief and some police officers or other police chiefs from other towns. If you pass that, you then get a polygraph, a lie detector test, then a psychological exam. And if you pass all that, you can become a Nether Providence Township police officer. Then you have to train for 14 weeks with a field training officer who will train you in every aspect of this town. You will already have the police academy for crimes code, vehicle code, and a myriad of other things. We'll teach you how we do what we do here. You'll ride with that field training officer for 14 weeks. You'll get trained in all kinds of weapons here. Everything on your gun belt you have to be certified in. So we go through a lot of training here. We're constantly improving as officers here. In fact, we go through courses through colleges like Penn State or Indiana University, District Attorney's Office, the DEA Office, Drug Enforcement Agency, Pennsylvania State Police. In fact, I have over 2,900 hours of continuing education just from the police job. So we do a lot of that here. Classes are offered for police officers here in everything from drug detection and identification, investigations, to cultural diversity and how to deal with people with autism. We deal with all that. So if you hate school, sorry, you're going to be doing a lot of that here as a police officer. You're still going to be doing education, keeping up to date with that. So, and we have courses that are required every year. You have to do them. So we run on 12-hour shift schedules. So we do 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. for 2 weeks, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. for 2 weeks. But you work 2 days, then you're off 2 days, then you're in 3 days. Put it this way, you work Monday, Tuesday, you're off Wednesday, Thursday, you're in Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you're off Monday, Tuesday, you're in Wednesday, Thursday, then you're off the weekend. So you're off every other weekend unless you take overtime shifts. So because of that, it could put a physical and mental strain on you. There are a lot of hours. You'll work holidays. You'll work, like I said, you'll work rainstorms. You'll work all that. It could put a strain on you. It's an emotional roller coaster being a police officer, good and bad. Keeping things in is not advised. You have to have outlets. Like I said, you have to have hobbies or things to get that stress out. But remember, we're human. Like I said, we have regular lives. And balancing that out can be a challenge sometimes, but it can be done. We have a myriad, just technology everywhere in law enforcement now. We have cameras on our cars that read Pennsylvania license, or not just Pennsylvania, any license plate within a split second, and it will tell us if it's wanted or suspended or what have you. We have the body cams now where it's recording any interaction with residents. So we have fingerprint. They look like phones, and they're basically fingerprint readers, to where if a person is lying about their name, if they've ever been arrested, I could put their thumb on there and their criminal history will come up with their real name. So some of the stuff is amazing that we have. There's a lot of things I like about this job, which I explained some already. But the interaction with the community is awesome. Daily basis, it's great. I'm not stuck behind a desk all the time. I'm out in the community seeing firsthand what impact we have on the community, so that's really cool. We meet with community leaders, school officials. You see us in the schools. But meeting with the residents is awesome, and it's a must. You'll get to know, if you learn your area quickly, you'll get to know what looks out of place, because you'll know who's working at what store and what time they close. And so you form friendships with some of these people. The least desirable thing about this profession is, like I said before, the stress. You get some stress and you get tired, so you got to have outlets. And this is a contact sport. What I mean by that is sometimes you get hurt. I mean, you're breaking up fights sometimes. Sometimes you get a car accident because you're driving a lot. Slip and falls, fighting with people. I mean, it can happen. I've been injured a lot. It can happen. So that's kind of a negative thing. But it's kind of like an athlete. I mean, they're going to get hurt. We're going to get hurt in this job. This is what happens. Courses that I believe, if you have an interest in this profession, I believe everything in life is a learning experience, good and bad. But I think taking classes in public speaking, getting out of your normal thing is very important. I think putting yourself out there and talking to people is very important. But classes, get out. It doesn't have to be criminal justice. If you want to, that's fine, but it doesn't have to be criminal justice stuff. It can be photography, psychology, accounting, computer work. Make something different, because we want well-rounded people. And when you're experienced in something else rather than just criminal law or criminal justice, that can only help you expand your career later on in the field. For detective division, for other divisions like white-collar crime, that can really help you in the long run. But learning other aspects of computer programming can assist you as well, because We do a lot of computer work here. Like I said, a lot of reports every day. And that can also help you get into like a forensics division. You know, things like that if you really get good at it. I've seen it happen. Photography can help you get into a crime scene unit. But always try to better yourself and learn and think outside the box. Preparing for a career in police work is at your guys' age, the stuff I just told you is preparing, but just stay out of trouble. Be respectful, and get out of your normal. Like I said, experience things. It helps you become a well-rounded person. However, more than likely, by the time you guys are ready, college is going to be a must. Police departments want, like I said, well-rounded professional people. So you don't have to get a degree necessarily in criminal justice, but get a degree in something you're interested in. Business, accounting, psychology, like I said, these are good things. Departments now look for a diverse background of people in all aspects and learning of life. It's very important. Volunteer work is good. I volunteer Toys for Tots, where we take gifts to sick children at the hospitals every Christmas. I volunteered for 5 years while doing this job, both of my kids' baseball teams. I helped coach. That can help get you out there and learn communication skills as well, and get you in the community. So it's very important. Security work, like when you're in high school or right out of high school, working at a mall security, something like that, gives you kind of a taste of what you're going to expect. So that's pretty good to do as well. There's a lot of recent changes in police work, but I'm not going to get too in-depth in that. I'll just say technology. The technology is amazing, but we have a lot more stuff now we have to do. Good for the better. But the technology is probably the recent changes that I am really excited about, that I said earlier. The negative changes, just how we're perceived by the public and by the news. It's a shame, but you have to have thick skin in this profession. So there's almost 800,000 police officers in the United States, and you hardly hear anything about I think it's over 2.5 million contacts a day between a police officer and a citizen. So that's pretty good odds. Couple other things. We wear body armor, plus a gun belt with all kinds of stuff on it. Gun, ammunition, handcuffs, my portable radio, tourniquet in case I get injured so I can cut off blood supply, mace. So sometimes all that, it's like 28 pounds. So you got to be in some good shape. You got to have some muscle, okay? And you're wearing it all day. Community police officers. We don't have community police officers. We like to say that we're all community police officers. But they watch over neighborhoods and talk to people, the community. They answer radio calls. But that's basically us. All of us in this department should be community police officers. There are many types of different police officers and things you can get involved in. I'll just touch on them real quick. School resource officer that just works in the schools. They watch over the schools and help students, keep them safe. Help students solve problems. They're there like a mentor. Safety patrol, they'll train students as well. So you have traffic officers. We have a traffic officer, Officer Smith. All he does is handle accidents and traffic control. Writes tickets, stops cars for aggressive driving, things like that. That's what he does. We used to have a bike patrol. I think we're going to try to get another one eventually, but you can get into a bike patrol unit, which really is awesome. I did it years ago, and it was great. Canine. I had a canine, drug dog. You can get involved in that. A lot of training for that as well, but it's fun, and the dog lives home with you, with the officer, so that's kind of neat. Some departments, big departments, have mounted patrol officers on horses. That's really cool. That's really neat. Then there's other departments like transit police, and they do trains like SEPTA or Amtrak police, and all the buildings that they own. there's a whole bunch of things you can get involved in as a police officer. So we also have we have a detective. We have the chief of police. We have 2 detectives actually, and then we have 4 sergeants, and then the officers that work on each shift. We're not a huge department, but we're a decent sized department. We handle. We have about 15 or 16,000 residents, and we handle a lot of roadway. 53 miles of roadway, I believe it is, all told. Over 300 streets, and we are the 9th largest township in the county. So we do handle a lot. We do a lot in one day. But if I could just tell you guys that, and I'm sorry I wish you guys were in front of me, but if anyone wants to come to the police department and talk to an officer about becoming a police officer, you could set it up with our secretary. I think it's a great profession. It's a noble profession, and I think that you can make a very good living doing it. But again, you have to have thick skin, and you have to make sure you're in it for the right reasons. You're here to help people. So I hope I gave you some idea of what being a police officer is like. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call. I hope everybody's doing well and safe. And I hope next year I'll be back in front of a class, okay? So, good luck to anybody who wants to be a police officer and who's going to, stick with this. And if I can help anybody, don't hesitate to contact me, okay? So, hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day.